Hi everybody, it's Nikki here. 안녕하세요. 저는 Nikki입니다. Welcome back to Hallyu Heaven. The K-pop world is growing, and by that I mean we are getting more and more fans being interested in K-pop, whether it is for genuine likes of a group or just for what kids these days call the cloud. I've come to realize a few things. That newer K-pop fans who literally have no idea what's behind being an idol, they have no idea what it is to be an idol or how they come to be an idol, because I think a lot of people don't realize how different it is from like US singers and stars to K-pop idols. So I think today I kind of want to get more into what idols actually deal with, or what trainees deal with to become an idol. So those of you who are new to K-pop and have no clue about it will have a little bit more of an understanding of things and maybe understand why people get on you for saying certain things, for example, on Twitter. So idols or trainees are usually either global auditions, local auditions. Some of them are even found on the street by scouts. Some are actually passed on at schools, like people will wait outside schools to find talents or people they've seen perform at school events or such things. Some idols or trainees are invited to an audition based on their looks or again via their talent. Then idols go into training, or again, the trainees go into training. For some of them, it's just a few years, a few months, some can be years. Dokwan had trained for 8 years. Johnny from NCT was around 9 years. Yes, it's not just like, oh, you're a trainee, welcome to the club, you're an idol. No, that's not how things happen in the industry, in the K-pop industry. Another thing is you could be training for many, many years, live in the dorms, struggle, and never debut, because it all depends on whether or not after training you still fit in what they wanted to put you in, or if you just have not improved as much as you need to debut. That's all what it's depending on. Training also involves dance training, vocal training. You will have Korean classes. That's just out of the question. If you are international and you're not fluent in Korean, you will get Korean classes. Now, you will also have to watch your diet, and this is a major thing in the K-pop industry that's also very negatively looked at by fans, is the crazy diets idols and trainees go on. It's low calories, low carbs. Sometimes there's not even food involved in those diets. It's the 3-cup diet, banana diet, the coffee diet, the water diet. There's so many unhealthy diets that I do not recommend you going on, because they're just so horrible on your health. These diets are pretty much designed to lose a ton of weight in a short period of time, which you should know is not a good thing. It's better to lose your weight gradually. But for idols or trainees, that's not always the option, because the agencies want you to be their perfect image right there and then. Yes, while K-pop is an amazing music genre, the way the industry is still doing things to a certain extent are not so great. So always remember, when you're criticizing an idol about their dance or their looks or whatnot, there is so much training that sits behind these idols. There's so much brain or mental thoughts in that idol and for their image. So for you to then tell them and like, oh, your cheeks are fat or you're fat, that goes deeper than just the top layer of their skin. That will go deeper, and they will then go on diets, or if there's too much complaints about it, the agency will hear about it and then put said idol on a diet. Whether or not the idol needs it, doesn't matter. They will be put on a diet. So again, when we talked about kind of thinking about the person that's behind the idol, like the actual person that is the idol last week, maybe think a bit more. Like if you were in that position, if then someone tells you, no, you have to lose weight, there's too many complaints about you looking fat. You know, it's a touchy subject in general, but for idols even more. Contracts, there have been crazy contracts idols have been under, but now there's an act in place where the contracts cannot be longer than 7 years, because some of them were endless contracts and crazy contracts that, yeah, the only word I can say is crazy. So now with the 7 years, at least you have an option to renew or then leave said agency and find a new one, or just completely get out of the game. Privacy. I think with, again, the globalization of K-pop, we can all agree that privacy doesn't really exist for idols, as we've talked about sasaengs as well. You lose your privacy when you become an idol. There will not be a lot. There'll be people waiting in front of your dorm room, not dorm room, but your dorm house. There'll be people waiting at airports. There'll be people behind you if you go to the store by yourself. So in a way, it's also never really safe to just be alone, because you always have someone following you. And if you then throw sasaengs into the mix who are just insane and try to get as close to you as possible, that makes it even less safe. So while being an idol and being in K-pop is an amazing dream that can come true, it comes with a lot of negative things as well. But again, a lot of jobs have that. It can be your dream, but it will have downsides. I think a lot of the new K-pop fans need to realize that it is such a different industry from the way the US or the EU does it. And maybe it's time, if you don't understand something, or if you're just confused about the way things are being brought on or promoted or anything like that, or why they're constantly changing hair colors, I think it's time to do some K-pop history lesson and look back at it instead of just being there for the visuals. And I think this is becoming more and more, again, a problem with it being so global now, that people are like, oh, that guy looks hot, let me stand that group. But in reality, they don't care for the group. They only care for the visuals. And I'm going to say it, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. You should like a group for their talents, their music, the passion they put into their music. You should not just stand a group simply for the visuals. I just think that's not right, because they're people. They're not dolls. They're not characters. They're still people. And yes, they train so hard to be somewhere and still face the issue of either never debuting or being kicked because they're not good enough. For them to then constantly criticize them about everything they do is also not right. I think new K-pop fans need to keep in mind that there is a backstory. There's a lot of backstory. There's history. With, of course, all music genre, there's histories. But K-pop is just a little bit different than your regular Ariana Grande or, I don't know, Breaking Benjamin. It's a lot different how groups come together and are formed and train. And you got to keep in mind their crazy schedules. While they're training for 18 hours a day when they're still trainees, it doesn't stop once they debut. It then goes on when they debut. They still have crazy amount of training, probably still very close to 18 hours. And then in the mix of that training, you have broadcasting, which is like TV appearances, radio appearances, recording, MV making, concerts, other promotions. That still fits in their schedule. So their time for idols to just be themselves is so limited. And let's throw sasaengs back in the mix. If idols go out during their own time to just have some time to themselves, and you have the sasaengs just kind of tagging along, how are they being themselves? They can't be, because I think for a lot of them in the back of their heads, they know they're being watched 24/7. Despite how many masks they wear, despite how much they change their appearance, people will always recognize them. And this is where we as fans should come in and give them said privacy and not like stalk them while they're at the same movie theater as you. If you want to wave, go ahead, wave. I don't care. But like, leave it at that. Don't follow them to their movie. Don't constantly like hang behind them. Give them their space and let them have the privacy they deserve when they finally get some time off. Because there isn't much time off. A lot of international K-pop idols don't get to go home every year, don't get to go home every couple of months. And you should realize that. I think Twitter is an evil place to be sometimes, and the things that you see and read are just insane because it always wonders me of how people can be like that, where brain cells seem to be missing, common sense seem to be completely missing. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one thinking like that, because there's enough people that I know that feel the same way about it. K-pop is global now. You can be a fan, but make an effort to get to know the people that are said idols. Make an effort to get to know their music style, their dance style, their history, the history of the group. Don't just be a fan for the clout or a fan for the visuals. I mean, give them credit where credit's due, and I think their hard work is shown in the amazing things these groups do. So give them credit for these amazing things the groups do, and not just credit for the beautiful skincare. It's just simple as that. So please just make an effort and really respect idols. Guys, if there's any other topics you would like me to talk about, if there's anything that's been bothering you personally about how idols are being treated, or anything in the K-pop, C-pop industry, feel free to either message me on my email if you don't want to leave it in a comment, or again, leave a comment down below. I will be your voice if you don't want to be the voice. It makes sense, doesn't it? As always, guys, I hope you have an amazing weekend coming up. I will see you on Sunday for K-pop News Flash. And don't forget to follow all my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and my website, HallyuHeaven.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon so you can get notified when I upload new videos. I love you guys. 사랑해. 바이바이. 안녕.